places to be. So, welcome to Sweet Fit Daily, where we make fitness palatable. So, let us have a little chat today about hormones and the ability that they have to impact your fat loss. Because, contrary to what the popular internet belief is, it is not always calories in, calories out. There are many different aspects to your fitness and nutrition and many variables that can actually impede your fat loss. Ah, that is right. So if you're here, let me know that you're here. Hashtag and I'm here, and let's get this show on the road. Hello to GSN Sport and Candice. Super nice to see you guys. So that being said, many of my clients that come to me are like, I don't know why I can't lose weight. Hey, Tyler, nice to see you. I don't know why I can't lose weight. I'm not eating a lot. I'm doing everything in my power to move my body. I just don't know why I can't lose weight. What's going on? Well, lo and behold, we end up getting on the phone, and I can tell you right within 30 minutes why you cannot lose said weight. Super nice to see you, my mama bear. And I don't know who the other lovely human is that is on my live, but I appreciate it. So, anywho, we are going to have a little bit of a chat in regards to the 5 ways hormones can impact your fat loss. Okay. Oh, hey Ev. Okay, I'm using StreamYard on Facebook, so I can't always see who is there unless you give it permission. So, let's get our sheep back in line. In French, we have this beautiful statement, revenons à nos moutons. Let's come back to our sheep, meaning let's get back on topic. So let's get back on our sheeps here. When you can't lose weight just from cutting calories to the extreme, there's a couple factors that might be coming into your life that you might not be aware of. The first one is your sleep patterns. That is right. Your sleep patterns might be disserving you. And your sleep patterns impact much more than just your sleep and your wake cycle. So when you go to sleep or when you're supposed to start feeling sleepy, we produce a hormone called melatonin. We naturally produce melatonin in our bodies. Yes, you can supplement it. That's the same thing. It's just an exogenous one. So that being said, melatonin is produced to make you feel sleepy. That's the thing that tells your body that you need to go to bed. When you wake up, your body naturally produces cortisol. GSN Sport, you can definitely shoot me a message after this video, and I'd be more than happy to see how I can help you. When we wake up in the morning, our body produces cortisol, the stress hormone, to wake us up. And that being said, many of us end up getting what we call this second wind right before bed, right? So we know that we should be asleep at 11 to wake up at 6 and get a good 7 or 8 hours of sleep. But come 9:30, 10 o'clock, we get this second wind and it's like, I'm ready. And you have this whole other thing that keeps you awake until like 2 in the goddamn morning. So what happens there is something called a cortisol reversal can be one of the things that can be affecting you. I'm going to go into that in a little bit, but when we face cortisol reversals, it just basically means that our body produces a lot of stress hormone, aka cortisol, in the evening, and ends up creating a lot more melatonin in the morning, which makes you wake up feeling like a freaking zombie. Not fun, right? Nobody likes that. Hey, Denny, and hey, Deborah. Super nice to see you guys. So, that being said, with a cortisol reversal, that's like that rave mode at night and then feeling like a zombie in the morning. It happens really frequently. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, and the only way to get this clinically diagnosed is through different tests and studies. So, that being said, take this with a grain of salt as an educational tool that this might be a thing. Now, when we face cortisol reversals or we just have really poor quality of sleep, this actually impacts our hormones on a deep level as well, which brings us to our hunger levels. That's number 2. Our hunger levels get impeded whenever, pardon me, Alexa, next. That song has like a lot of loud guitar crap in it. Anyways, when we get hungry from when we have lack of sleep, our hunger levels increase and our fullness hormone decreases. So we have a much higher chance to feel ravenous and really freaking hangry after a night of shit sleep, which can lead us to binge eating, overeating, and just general lack of satisfaction with the food that you would typically eat in a day. And so, this is why sleep is such an important factor in our day to day lives. Why do we need to actually spend time sleeping? Why do we need to make sure that we get high levels and high quality sleep? 4 hours is not enough to function on. 5 hours is not enough to function on. And the next day, after a really shit and pissant sleep, you'll probably notice after I tell you this that you're going to feel that fucking hungry and not full. It's kind of like you have a hole in the empty, like in your stomach. So, this is a really common occurrence. Now, that being said, coming back to cortisol, cortisol is produced, this is number 3. Cortisol is produced in response to stress. This can stimulate inflammation. Actually, it does. It does encourage inflammation in the body. And inflammation in the body is usually caused by stress, which can give us a whole host of fun things like autoimmune conditions, cranky headaches, sore joints, bloated bellies, whatever it else. It doesn't need to be so bad, but it is something that can affect you on a subconscious level that you might not be aware of. Like if you always have a cranky ass knee, maybe you should look at your stress levels and inflammatory foods. So stress equals inflammation. Cortisol can add to that inflammation, okay? As a side effect, that can also make people on the opposite end not hungry at all and actually suppress their appetite. So you'll kind of find 2 camps of people typically, and that is stress eaters and stress starvers is what I like to call them. People who will either way too much eat or will starve themselves. Perfect example of how to figure this out would be if somebody is perhaps going through a breakup, as terrible as that is, a lot of people will turn to food or they'll turn to nothing. They'll turn to like starving themselves. So this is a very classic example of how you'll see somebody processing those emotions. And so that being said, when we are stopping eating on the opposite end, you guys already know like the hunger hormones and everything else can be affected, but the fullness hormones can go up and the hunger hormones can go down, which allows us to stress starve, quote unquote. What this does is if you are eating in a severe calorie deficit for an extended period of time, you can actively slow your metabolism down because your body's not getting enough food. If your body's not getting enough food, it's going to start holding on to all the extra calories it can because it doesn't know when it's going to get that extra food. Does that make sense? And so this can promote fat gain even if you're eating in a huge calorie deficit. Like I have women coming to me eating 800 to 1200 calories in a day sometimes, and they don't understand why they can't lose weight. And when you break it down this way, all of a sudden light bulbs are going off. So instead of putting your body in an extended, chronic, stressed out state where it has to hold on to everything, we have to implement some things called like reverse dieting, which is where we slowly add in food that matches that person's caloric needs very slowly and strategically. It's a long process. It can take months. But eventually, that's how I get my clients almost eating double than what they came to me because we end up helping them. Okay. The 5th thing that I want to bring up is environmental toxins can have a huge impact on your hormones, which can have a huge impact on your fat loss. So, environmental toxins would be something that we call phytoestrogens or endocrine disruptors. They are chemicals found in our bath products, our chemical products, our cleaning products, things like this, that get absorbed into the body and processed like estrogen a lot of the time. And so we can end up with an excess of estrogen and xenoestrogens, meaning foreign, The xenoestrogens come from our hormone disruptors or endocrine disruptors, and this can create too much estrogen in the body. Now, this is not to say that you should be flipping shit and going to the most like extreme of everything. You'll never chop them all out. If you live in the modern society, you will never chop them all out. Doesn't mean that you can't make an effort, though, to continue to find more natural products. Maybe cut down on all the chemicals you use, make your own cleaning products. Vinegar, dish soap, and water goes a really long way. Baking soda goes a long way, things like this. So endocrine disruptors can have an impact on your body by producing too much estrogen for men and women. And when we get into foods and stuff, that's where we get into phytoestrogens and stuff. We're not going to touch on that today. But these xenoestrogens, foreign estrogens, can promote too much estrogen, which can impede our fat loss. So that being said, my friends, the top 5 things we should be looking at to help our body with our hormones is eating whole foods. That means stuff ideally that doesn't come from a package. However, you can find some whole foods in packages. Those would be like canned beans, frozen vegetables, things like that. Those are still considered whole foods. They're still in their original state for the most part. You can look at cleaning up your chemical and skincare products. What you put on your skin's your largest organ in the body. What you put in your skin is a very, very, very important thing. Number 3, you can fix your sleep. I don't think that this gets talked about enough, but by fixing your sleep, you might be able to lose a few pounds. I'm not gonna lie. And number 4, I would suggest that we get a mindfulness practice and stress management practice underway so that you can start taking control of your mind and learning how to positively create associations by filling your own cup. Quite literally, anytime you do something for somebody else, if this is your energy level, your well-being, you pour from that cup. When you do something for yourself and your wellness, you start filling your cup. And so that being said, I would encourage you to find things that fill your cup as well. So bottom line, eat some damn good food, manage your stress, and be aware that hormones have a deep level of impact in your ability to lose fat sometimes. There's nothing wrong with you. You just have to identify what they are. And if you do need help with that, start talking to somebody. Maybe go to your doctor and have blood work done. You never know what it is. And those of you that do have active hormone imbalances, you are not a slave to your hormone imbalance. I'm living proof of it. Many of my clients are living proof of it. You do not have to be a slave to your hormone imbalance. I'm going to go through some of the comments that are coming in because, man, everybody is like piping up. Facebook is alive tonight and I'm living for it. So Miss Deborah says that, shit sleep sounds like her. Totally. It's a lot of people in modern society. Kelsey's yelling that it makes a lot of sense and that her hunger, like hangry mode, happens every time she has a shift rotation. So she works days and nights. My mother is yelling that she's so hungry, nom, nom, nom. But when she's bored, she eats. And when she wants to watch a movie or read a book, she wants to eat. She loves snacks that are savory. So in those cases, that could be also a stimulant thing. For you, it could be like a stimulant in your brain. It could be a way to produce those happy hormones through that reward with food. And we've got a couple people saying that they're stress starvers and the whole shebang. And form equals function. Sleep you need. I'm just going to say it now. Mr. Instagram, sleep is a necessity. Calm down. We've already fixed your nutrition just from you tuning into our lives. So just saying, we can fix your sleep too. Do you guys have any questions while I am here? Seems like you're living on sugar-free coffee. No good, girl. I would much rather have you have some actual sugar than a sugar-free alternative, believe it or not. I'd much rather you have like honey, maple syrup, or actual sugar, because those are things that your body can actually process. So instead of introducing something that our body can't necessarily process, like sucralose or aspartame or whatever sweetener, it's preferable to actually switch over to like an actual sugar or a stevia or a monk fruit, which are at least natural that your body can produce or like can digest. So guys, if there is no questions coming in, I do want to just thank you for your attention spans tonight. It really has been helpful and really, really fun on my end. It's always more fun for me whenever I have people commenting and keeping these lives alive. And I love giving you guys value. I love educating you in everything that I need. There's 2 questions coming in. I'm going to answer them right now. Form equals function saying he used to sleep well and then he found out the definition of stress. Oh, okay. So that being said, stress management routines, my friend. Stress management routines. So the story of form equals function is that he actually tunes in every single Wednesday when I go live with my colleague Barbie. And from our lives, he's been able to fix up his nutrition from low calories to much higher calories and actually manage his protein and everything else a lot more and see body composition results that he wanted. At the same time, now we're going to fix his sleep. That's right. I'm calling you out publicly, Montel. Just saying. And okay, some of these coming in, you're catching up. You're a starver. Stress starver to the max. Okay. That is definitely something that you and I have discussed, Miss Brooke. Just saying. Kelsey, do you need to see a specialist for blood work for the hormone thing? No. Okay. If you are in Canada, you need to go to your family physician and ask for a blood work panel. And you can request that they check your hormone levels and your vitamin levels and make sure that everything is tickety-boo. If they find something, then they'll usually order more tests. So, for example, with me, they found thyroid thyroid markers were out of whack. So eventually I ended up getting diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and they actually do antigen or antibody testing, basically checking if there's extra inflammation in the body because it's an autoimmune disease. So there's many, many different things. That one, typically your family doctor can all do, okay? And the other question is, does deload reduce cortisol better than exercise? This is a very individual question. I'm not sure who asked that question. Who asked that question? Was that you, Ev? For this question in particular, does deload reduce cortisol better than exercise? I'm just going to say here that deload week is not a common occurrence for most people, okay? Most people who tune in on these that aren't in my community or aren't fitness fanatics don't know what deload week is. So when you train regularly, you eventually start hitting plateaus. And this can add to your stress in your body. What I found with my clients in particular, and I'm weird as a coach this way, is that we implement deload weeks, like complete rest deload weeks, cardio and abs max if you really want to do it. But we actually implement them much more frequently than your common coach will do it maybe every 12 weeks or so. I make my girls do it every 4 weeks or every 8 weeks. So it depends on the person and it depends on how we're doing with their cycles and what their results are doing and everything else. But typically, I do it with my men too. But the reason behind this is that typically the people that come to me have very high stress careers, high stress family lives, high stress environments all the time. And the reason why we implement a deload week a little bit more frequently than a lot more other coaches is that I found that this created better adherence to my programs, which means that they actually show the fuck up and do them. And it allowed them time to step back and refocus their minds on wellness, being mindset practices, and their food, instead of having all the variables all at once, all the time, come crashing down. And so we avoid feelings of overwhelm. So by implementing this style of deload week much more frequently, we're able to get these clients better results and have much better adherence and showing up for themselves than they were if they were to do like 12 weeks straight balls to the wall. Instead, we create balance because we're taking a long-term approach instead of just crash diet, here's results. And this I have found has helped people break plateaus much more frequently than you would think. To answer your question, Ev, does deload reduce cortisol better than exercise? There's no clear answer to this because I need to know the individual's training plan. You would need to actually monitor it through actual studies and things like this. But I would say this, both have their purpose. Both can help reduce stress, but exercising does actually put a certain amount of stress on the body. Relaxing too much can have a certain stress on the body. So balance would be the key here. I don't think that there's a clear-cut yes or no answer for this one. I'm sorry. And then Brooke is yelling that she tries to love deload. She likes going balls to the wall. Well, listen here, Missy. You have 4 children. You need to calm down sometimes. Does anybody else have questions, or is that it for the evening, guys? This is a longer live than I like, or not than I like. This is a longer live than we normally do because we have so much engagement tonight. So it's super awesome. No, it is not a shitty question, Ev. You like the balance and you're getting wiser as you get older. It is not a shitty question at all. I think it's a really pertinent question. It's a tricky question, and I like those. And Brooke, you can stop laughing at us all. No, I'm just pestering you. Instagram, do we have any questions? You guys are really quiet tonight. Do you guys have any extra questions? I'm just checking the comments here. Nope, not looking like we have any. Okay. Can I review once more or sum it up? Yes, I can review it once more. So if you're taking notes, you can always catch the replay as well. This is going to be live on my page. You can save the video. If you're on Facebook, you can actually click save and save the video so you can watch it whenever you'd like. But Deborah, to summarize for you once more, my girl, 5 ways that hormones can bug or impact your fat loss are: number 1, by not sleeping enough, our hunger and fullness hormones are affected. Hunger goes up and fullness goes down. We basically become a hangry zombie that nothing will fix. You just can't be satisfied in these moods, so try and get some sleep. Number 2, stress can impact your sleep. So you might be facing too much stress and too much anxiety around sleep, which is keeping you awake, which affects those extra cortisol production. You might have a cortisol reversal if you find that you're having like a rave right before bed, you're not sleepy, and then you feel like a zombie in the morning. You can check that out with your family doctor and studies. Number 3 is that number 4, I should say, too much stress can actually make you a stress starver instead of a stress eater, which can, overall, you'll start lowering your calories, and long-term calorie deficits can mean slow metabolisms. And number 5, checking out environmental endocrine disruptors can be a big impact in case you are seeing an excess of estrogen. So endocrine disruptors are basically like Teflon, like that coating inside of nonstick pans. It could be certain chemicals you use. It could be in your body care products, things like that. So little things like that can have big impacts. And we're going to be touching on this a lot more because I think it's a very interesting topic. And number 6, I threw it in extra, was that if you do discover you have a hormone imbalance, you can discuss that with your physician, of course. You have to get diagnosed by them, but it will not define you. If you have a hormone imbalance, it does not mean that fat loss is impossible. And it also doesn't mean to cut the hell out of carbs. Just saying that now, do not cut carbs. Guys, I eat a shit ton of carbs every day, and I can still see fat loss, no problem. With hormone imbalances, do not cut carbs. You need balance, and each different hormone imbalance requires different things. So if you're stuck, talk to somebody is what I'm going to say there. And Brooke's yelling that carbs are her friends. So that being said, my friends, that is all I have for you this evening. Form equals function is saying this is good stuff, and he's surprised that he actually knew some of it. So that's really awesome. And hello, Mr. Eddie. Super nice to see you too. So, guys, have a kick-ass evening. I'll be back tomorrow with Barbie for our weekly stint at 10 a.m. CST, 11 a.m. Oh, no. Yeah, 11 a.m. EST. There we go. 10 or 11. You'll see it. And if you don't catch the replay, you can see the replay later on. Much love, much respect. And thank you so much for all the engagement tonight. It was super nice, super fun. And I really enjoy it whenever I get this kind of feedback. See you later, guys.